Outstanding.
Welcome again to another tutorial video. It's a boy Eldorado and Ting. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification button, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Audio Mac at Eldorado Productions. Now today, when we go really dive into this mix bus or stereo mix that I've been using for quite some time now. However, I think I did one last year, but with the plugin changing out that I've been doing for more than 6 months now, I've really find a different sound, a different plugins to add to my mix, my two track stereo mix. However, what really two track mix bus is, it's more like color and a little bit of control in dynamics, clarity, the width of your mix, and maintaining a certain color and the overall mix. Now, from the last one that I've showed, sometime last year, I have major updates this particular year. So what I'm going to do is share my mixbus setup with y'all, and if you find it really interesting, you can really try it and hear it sounds. If you don't like it, then stick to the usual one that you have. But this is the one that I am currently using now. So first and foremost on this mixbus, or my stereo mix that I've been using, is the Lindell bus plugin that I'm not really remember. Yeah, Lindell 80 bus plugin. And what really I use this for is just for coloring the sound. There are times when the song don't really it's not a matter of requirement. Is I like the tonality of this particular bus plugin. You have the trim here and the if I'm pronouncing it correctly, thermal harmonic distortion of the characteristic of this particular equipment. You have a TMT inside, you have the left and right. It's just mostly like running the audio through this to get the color of it. I really like the color of it, in which it emulates a Lindell disc. Yeah, it emulates the bus channel of that particular disc. So been liking this sound on my mixes so far, and I haven't put it on all of the songs that I mixed, but for the most part they are all on it. And I think when it's not on it, you can really identify that it's not on it. Yeah, because it has such a great tone to it. It's easy to identify, like how some people can really know the sound of an SSL. But for me, I really dig in this sound. So that's the first plugin that I have on this particular stereo mix. Now the second one on it is Shadow Hills mastering compressor. Now this compressor is something else. It is totally out of this world, and it's very hard to go wrong with this compressor. I like the tonality of it. I like the tone of it. I like the color. To be more precise, I like the color of it. I like how it's easy to use. It seems like a lot of buttons, but I like the sound of it. So before I let you really hear it, I'm going to play a particular part of the track without the shadow is engaged, that with only the Lindell 80s bus on it. You can really hear it sound.
I swear, now make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear, swear. Now make a boy kill me.
So as you can hear, the bus plugin opens up the mix a little bit more and give it a little bit more body. You know, that's why I've been saying that I like this particular plugin. Now, the Shadow Hills compressor, this is the color that it actually gives it, and how I'm going to explain why I'm really using it on this particular track the way that I did. So I'm going to turn it off.
I swear, now make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear, swear. Now make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear.
As you can hear, that a little bit of compression is going on. And a stereo mix bus, you don't really want to compress a lot. So this is like -1 compression. And what sometimes I tend to do is not to use the optical compressor part of it and just use the discrete part of this particular plugin, because this plugin has been built with a lot of tubes in it, among other things, to make it a great mastering compressor, but it's also good for mixing application, and this plugin is also good on other things other than, you know, here. So with the optical compressor off, you know, it's basically have the ratio is determined by how much you push into this particular compressor. Correct me if I'm wrong. So sometimes I use it just for coloring purposes, sometimes I don't, but in most cases I don't. But that's, for this particular track I did. So I'm going to disengage it and play it again with the discrete part of it enabled, and hear how it sounds without it.
I swear, now make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear, swear. Now make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear, can't afford to make my.
Alright, so as you can hear, it adds a little bit of body in which it's doing pretty fair amount of compression. But what you can do also, if you disable it, you can really select the meter. So this section of the track, because they are both linked together, left and right, I have it linked in dual mono. So the optical compressor part, when this is on optical, one will show for the one will show for the optical part and one will show for the discrete part. So if I disengage the optical part, I normally would put it on discrete, so the both metering up the both of the metering section up here shows as one in stereo.
I swear, now make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me.
Yeah, so I had this on for this particular track, and what I did is compress and use a little bit of makeup gain, in which I have the discrete attack part of it on 30, and in most cases I will put it on 10 and the meter will not be moving. But sometimes if it is compressing a little, I would back off the attack of it and make most of the transient goes through, and have a very soft compression enabled, that's 2:1, and you can go even softer at 1:2 ratio of the discrete compression part. I had this steel module selected, in which they have 3 different tone to it, but the steel for this particular track was a little bit warmer or darker in tone and color, and the iron one is pretty much fair, but the nickel at the top, it is very transparent, in which the other two is the middle one is slightly, that's iron, it's slightly colored, and the steel one is heavily colored. So it's between the taste of the song that you are actually mixing. you can really use it the way how you really um, desired desire it to be. So you can even have them independent of each other, and you have two, different sound within from the left, different from the right. When it comes on to the nickel side, the modules here of this particular plugin. There, I have a new one that's Shadow Hills. It's the same plugin, but it is the first set of the actual hardware that they made before they made the new one, in which that one have more controls on it, and it has a higher headroom than this particular one, and it has slightly a different tone and coloration of the actual hardware, and its own a bit different in in my eyes, but they tend to serve the same purpose that I have them on the bus. So just a little bit of compression and a little bit of gluing to kind of glue everything in one cohesively, that the sounds don't really spread out all over the place. So moving on to the next plugin is BX Control Midside EQ, the master of midside equalizer. And I really like this plugin. For one, it has a lot of options, and for two, it makes me look at mid-siding quite from a different angle. Visually, it stimulates the mixing part of it, in which in most cases you have to really use the ears, but for me, more precise, I can, look at numbers, type in numbers, and all of, typing numbers and listening, instead of, it just makes life more easier when you come on to mid-side part. However, I've been using this for quite some time. Um, since I acquired it on my mix bus for mid-side processing, yeah, I do a little bit of mid-side processing um, on the stereo bus track, or whatever you want. There's so many names for it. Or two bus. Let's call it two bus for a two bus mixing. And what purpose this really serves to me is cutting off. Let's start on the mid side. It's cutting off a little bit of the low and rumble it in the middle. Sometimes I will like leave it down here at 20 hertz, but sometimes it turns it off. I will turn it up a little bit, but for the most part, just undo that, undo that. You can undo and redo with this particular plugin. That's what I like about this plugin. Should in case I make some stupid move and forgot where I had it first, we can really undo and redo it over again and switch. Can copy settings, paste to another module, and A/B between them as you make adjustment for the particular song that you are doing. Not saying that every sorry, every mix does mix you have is the same settings. They can have a particular settings what you like to start off with, and then you make adjustment to the settings afterwards. But for me on this particular track, this track is really bass heavy with the 808s. So what I did, I cut off some of the rumble, not all, but having it at 35 hertz, the slope really starts way before 35 hertz. So bear that in mind. Not because you set it at 35 hertz, it may start at like 45 hertz, to get that 35 hertz slope at 12 dB per octave. And what I have done also in the low mids, I cut out about 1.4 dB. The Q is 1.4, and I cut out about -1 dB of gain here, because it sounds a little bit muddy, should I say. And this track was a little pretty at this stage, a little bit bright. So what I did, I have removed some of the shelf at 12K in the middle, and at the sides I have a bit of, it might seem drastic, but I removed uh, pretty much majority of the low mids on the sides. I didn't really want the bass on the sides for this particular song, and I boosted the the sides of the songs by 1 dB, to make it a little bit wider. It's kind of much of a weird move, but doing it on this particular track, I feel that it was the best choice, so I did that also. So go play it without it and with.
I swear, nah, make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear, swear. Nah, make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear, can't afford. I swear, nah, make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear, swear. Nah, make a boy kill me.
As you can hear, it cleans up the track a bit, in which the low side section of the piano, I have cut that out because for some reason I didn't really like it on this particular track. So I had removed it among other things, but it also gives the track a little bit more clarity to it, and that's what I really like about doing mid-side EQ on my two bus. It really helps in some situation, but in some situation it does not help. So sometimes I will bypass this stage of the two bus track, but in most part of it I will use it. On the two bus, you don't really want to over process with a lot of plugins. That's only if you want it, but I don't think it's really required to really over process at this stage. Is more like, gluing everything, gelling everything together and giving it a tone and a little bit of characteristic. It's really nice to really have a little bit teeny bits of shapes here, to really guide the overall mix in what it's supposed to be. So the next plugin that I have on it is Mag EQ. I think Mag EQ 4. And what I really did with this plugin, it's because it have a ear band at 40,000 kilohertz. I'm really liking that shine up there. So what I overall do with this plugin is just to add air, a little bit of width, a little bit of shine, a little bit of shimmer up the top, or whatever you might call it, and it sounds really nice. So with this particular plugin, sometimes I just have it on it without the earband enabled, and it add a certain character to the vocal. Sometimes it's thicken it up, sometimes it make it more present, sometimes what we tend to do is just give it like a little bit more oomph to your track. So sometimes I will enable it, and I will boost it if the track really needs it or not, and sometimes I just don't boost it. I just have it enabled there just for the characteristics of this plugin. So as I've said previously before, sometimes these plugins are just for coloring and not for the actual use that it was built for. So sometimes you just enable it and it just sound right, spot on, in which sometimes you can really use, how you really want the track to really sound, if you want it a little bit brighter or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to play it with it, without it first, and play it with it after. So here goes.
I swear, nah, make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear, swear. Nah, make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me.
Alright, so what this tends to do on this particular track is opens up the top a little bit more, even though some of us not really hear up there, or whatever the case may be. For for average listeners, they don't really care about what we do up there, but to us it's a big deal, and it add a little bit more oomph to the track. You know, Subconsciously they say the song sound nice and sound sweet and sound sexy and whatever the words that they may use, is because we as mixing in our mastering engineers, you know, tend to do some things to it to make people appreciate the music that they are consuming. So regardless, some engineer might have a tendency to say, "Oh, average listeners don't really listen for the technical things that we do," but we have to bear in mind that we want to give the consumer the best material that we possibly can give them for them to enjoy the music, because at the end of the day, we really do the music for the consumers, for the fans. You see, we don't really do it for yourself, because at the end of the day, if you go mainstream, or if you are mainstream, you really do it for the people. Them, you not really do music for yourself. You see, you do what you think you might enjoy, but at the end of the day, you're still giving consumers your music to consume. So we want to give them in a way that's really how them can really enjoy it of the era of the music. Whatever era they might in, or whatever year they might in, they still enjoy the music. So that is what this really doing it, adding some shine to the track, opens up the top of the mix, making it a little bit wider, before it goes off for mastering. Next on this list, we have a compressor. Fairly doing a little bit of compression. Also, I probably none in whatever case I might look upon it. I will go play with it and without it.
I swear, now make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear, now make a boy kill me.
And what really and truly this compressor is here for is like bringing up the dynamics more of for this particular track. So instead of getting it loud at this stage, maybe really more focused on dynamics of the song, because I don't really want to get it loud. So whenever it reach the stage for mastering, it's already too loud, and whenever songs get louder, the more it loses dynamics, and dynamics is really important. It's what keeps the track fat. It keeps the song pumping and giving you that really cool vibe. That hard hitting drum, the heavy 808, and the present fat vocals. So if you want at this stage, you really have to really focus more on dynamics, and you know having enough dynamics when it before it reach mastering is also good. So having it like minus 11 or minus 14 in dynamics and mixing stage, it's really cool, because whenever it reaches mastering now, the song is going to get a way much louder, and it's going to lose a lot of dynamics. So having as much dynamics in a session or on a particular track before it sends off to mastering is really important. So we're going to play this with this plug. I think I played with. I will play it without it again.
I swear, now make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear, swear.
And a little pro tip before we move on to the next video. In reality, the speakers of this particular song is turned up really loud, but digitally, it is not loud. And why I tend to do this is mixing low, may have a lot of headroom for really work with before it goes off to mastering. Now, whenever the track is really, whenever our speakers are really low, we tend to, it's harder to hear things. So mixing low with loud speakers and taking frequent breaks can really help with you achieving the sound that you can achieve with however level of mixing that you have. So I have a tendency if it really drive me um, studio monitors for a period of time, then me stop and take a break, probably watch a video or talk to a friend or whatever the case may be, engage in some conversation to forget about the mix and then come back on it. But if that's not the case, you can't really turn up a speaker just to hear a particular part, turn it back down, work at a level where you can really hear the things that you are doing. Um, and for the last plugin that I really have on this tool bus is Isotope Tonal Balance Control, and you have different modules you can select it. But for this particular one, when I mixed this track, I did have um, version 1 before I turned it over to version 2, in which I have the same settings enabled as version 1. And what I tend to check with this plugin is the balance of my mix, because balance is really important. Because having a balanced track, people will find you will have less problems. And how to really train your ear for really balancing your track, you can really use this plugin, and a few mixes. After a while, your ears start to adjust to a certain balance that you're mixing at. So if something really sound off or a little bit loud, it's easy to identify. Now, I've been using this plugin for ever since it come out, and now me really reach at a stage that if something is really loud or the bass is too heavy or the high is too high, my ears can really identify that now, because I have learned from this plugin what a balanced track should sound like. It sometimes it will take away from the creativity of the particular track, yes, and sometimes I have unbalanced track also, but it's all based on how you favor the track to be. But having a balance mix is essential in modern day music. And we go play it here so we can really hear what I go on.
I swear, now make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear, now make a.
I'm not sure why this plugin is behaving this way. Oh, there you go.
I swear, now make a boy kill me. That's why I got it on me. I swear.
So as you can see, there's pretty much somewhat of a nice balance into this track, and everyone loves this track. I'll be sure to leave a link to this particular track. You can really listen to the final version of this particular song. So without further ado, again, thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you really learned something from this particular video. Hope you can really take something from it, to enhance a mix and so forth like that. Please leave some comments below and what you think, or what plugin you possibly think I should try on my mix bus to make it sounds better. So don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification button, leave some comments below. Until next time, another